Hello, everyone. I just got back from a hike in the woods with my dad and my dog, Charcoal, and just my dog got bit in the ear by a dog named Luna, and there was blood and this sort of thing, and I told him that the moon likes to whisper. Then my dad handed me this seashell. Let's see. Yes, it's a very pretty seashell, and he just found it in the creek down there, and there's a lot of really old deposits in the creek, so my dad, this is my dad's house here, and I was mistaken about like a brand of dog food, um, in a conversation we were having, and he's like really afraid for me to go to Egypt because he's afraid of like he's very patriarchal Christian, and he corrected me um, about God being the pronoun I used and said it's a he, and then I corrected him. He asked me to feed the bunny in the backyard with a couple carrots, and he called her a girl, and it's a boy bunny. And I'm like, it's a boy bunny in the backyard, Dad. And this is my dad's house, technically. I mean, I live here. My friends come over and we make music and such not. And there's a lot of beautiful things my dad has done for me and stuff, and he's like afraid that I'm a witch or something, and I'm like, yeah, I'm a witch. Like, it's weird. He's like, he's like, uh, he's like, your friends aren't witches, are they? And stuff. And I'm like, actually, I'm a witch and stuff, and you're a witch too, Dad. You just don't realize it. And he's like, no, I'm not a witch. God knows I'm not a witch, and this and that. And I'm like, God is a witch. And he's like, don't say that. That's blasphemy. I'm like, Dad, like, look at this seashell. Like, where do you think this seashell came from? Okay? Like, they say, like, you put a seashell up to your ear and you can hear the ocean. Well, my dog got in a fight with a dog named after the moon today and got bit because he got bit on the ear, right? Because he wasn't listening to the moon, right? And the moon tells the tides, you know? It's a very gentle, hypnotic. This is why I like ASMR videos and such, not like this, because it's just reminding ourselves that we're home and that we're human. And where did we come from? We came from the stars. We came from beyond. Because the oceans, in the old days, the ships on the sea, the oceans reflect space and learning to navigate. My dad, we have Germanic ancestry, and I told my dad that, Germans have Egyptian feet, and, like, he always talks about, there's so many things, like, he always talks about how Germans are good architects and stuff, and it's like, well, look at, like, the pyramids, and then you can correlate that with, like, my first concert was Deep Purple. My dad took me when I was 8 years old, and Deep Purple has a song called Space Truckin', and Space Truckin' is about being a sailor of the cosmic sea, So I feel that it's my God-given right to go to Egypt, and I want to work to earn that privilege, and I'd like to go with these people that I know, and I need some help to do that. But if I do that, like, I just feel that the universe is listening, and I want to return this seashell to Egypt so that it can listen, so that the land can hear a new frequency. So please help me. My dog spilled blood, and my dad is afraid that my blood will spill if I go to Egypt. And I live my life in such a way that I'm surviving, and I don't know what tomorrow is, or, you know, I think that those things are like illusions, and I'm here, and I'm dependable. The people that I love and the people who love me, not always is everything perfect, and not always do we get it just right. But I think that we stress ourselves out too much. I think that we try to make ourselves something that we're not. I slept 13 hours last night, but in the preceding, like, 4 days before that, I had gotten maybe 12 hours of sleep. $18 maybe. And my dad might say something like, because I slept until 1 p.m. today, but he doesn't see that I'm always working. He's more concerned about me keeping up hours at my job washing dishes. And I've never really asked for money for a lot of my other services. We've been making music and art for free for many years and sharing it freely. And I've gone on a lot of trips where I've lost a lot of money, and my dad has right to be concerned. And I'm not trying to shout into the universe that I deserve something. I'd rather whisper in his ear and listen. I'd rather lay down on the ground and just listen to the plants growing and the many stories that they have to share. I'd like to do all these things, but our society, and I'm not trying to make an excuse because I make time to do these things, and I do them, and I still keep up at my job washing dishes. I do, okay? So, our society tells us that those are the only important things, okay? And it's important to have those things. It's important to have them. And maybe no one said they're the only important things. But I'm listening. And what I hear is a lot of emotions that have just gone into overdrive, and it's very confusing. And most people that I know are living paycheck to paycheck, and the business that I work for is like basically run paycheck to paycheck, even though it's like a big business and there's many people involved, and like, you know, it's like an upscale like neighborhood, actually is like a golf course and stuff, but still, like, the organization of it, like, I'm here and I'm seeing other people and I see them being human, and they, like, are totally fine. Like, that business is fine. Like, you know, like, because what is important to each of them and their values is their families and their dogs and their kids and nature. Every human, like human beings love nature. Like, we are nature, and we have a God-given right to reconnect with that, no matter what anyone tells us. Like, and I make it a point to reconnect with that on a daily basis and to live my life in tune with these frequencies. And when, you know, a job washing dishes makes it hard for me to do that, then I will just keep washing dishes and I'll wash them less. And that's why I'm trying to take my time with things, because I have responsibilities and word is bond, and I have to be here for my dog and my parents and my friends, and, you know, we're making music and we're making art, and I feel like I'm been doing a lot to make things around me like function smoothly. Because the other thing about washing dishes is these people like quit where I was working, like, and I was like pretty much the only regular dishwasher left, and then I had another friend who needed a job, so I got him to work there, and he's doing pretty good. And so I feel like I kind of help them out too, you know, because it helps me, because now I don't have to wash dishes only just 3 days a week instead of 5 days a week like I had been. And that's given me a moment to kind of pause and reflect. And with this whole Egypt thing that, like, I had seen, like, start to unfold, and then I, like, pretty much just told myself, like, oh, I can't do that, and this and that. And I had friends, like, who were going to Florida, and they went to Florida, and now they're back and stuff. And, like, I've been talking to my sister about moving out to New Mexico with her and her husband. They professors of communication. And, like, I just need to get away from my dad's house for a while, is one part of it. And then, like, you know, like, a lot of my friends, like, just got out of, like, psych wards and this or that, and, like, I have friends who are, like, on, like, social stuff from the government, and, like, so, like, I ended up being one of my only friends with money sometimes, and, like, my mom used to, like, help me out a lot, and she, like, still does, but she recently had to, let go of one of her, in a good way, like, one of the, women that she cares for. She had two, and they're in their 20s, and they have autism spectrum type of cognitive cookies. And so one of them just like was doing well enough to start to move out onto her own more. So it's a good thing, but it does hurt my mom's income a little bit. But it's a good thing for her too, because it's springtime here, and she's an avid gardener, and she grows a lot of good food and herbs, and needs to focus more on that. And it's been hard for her with both girls, because they tend to like team up with each other on her and stuff. So my mom, her patience is tremendous. And so my mom like taught me all these things, like about like listening to the cycles of nature and the cycles of the earth, and communing with the spirits, and really, really deeply personal, beautiful experiences that she's had with Jesus Christ and her own life. and just from an early age, it really touched me deeply. And when my dad would take me to see Deep Purple and hear these space trucking, and he'd take me to see Alice Cooper and all these things, and he's really into Johnny Winter and the Blues, and these people are all travelers. And my dad works actually an oil company, so he works for the lubrication of machines, especially machines that allow us to travel vast distances. And my mom does work for the lubrication of people's cognitive functions, in a sense, as a social worker specializing in, I'm not sure what the exact term is now, developmental disability. But they divorced when I was very young, and my dad, to this day, like literally today, he said, "I wish your mom would have never taught you that stuff." But yet he goes out into nature and he makes trails, and he was showing me a new bench he set up, and he handed me the Seashell, and from the music he taught me and this and that, I see like, and he's taken me like him and his sister, like we've gone to California, you know, we went to Tennessee a lot, went to Canada a couple times, and those are really beautiful things, you know, and I'm like really thankful. But like every time he would go to those places, he would want to like do these like, a lot of times like very touristy things, and I would always immerse myself like into the culture, and I want to be like with the people and like just feel what it feels like to like be in that other space, that other place and time. And my dad is more the observer, so I get like this alien type of observational, experimental, very German, analytical. My mom is German too, but just these ancient ways of looking at life, and I've had to learn how to synthesize those two perspectives, and to live with my dad's incessant assurance of patriarchal order and the status quo. I mean, for people who know me, to think that I live with someone on a daily basis in that mind state, and that we can coexist I mean, it can be challenging, but we just went on a nature hike and
Hey, Sammy,
yeah.
that spaghetti on the door, when did you open that?
Saturday.
Was it in the refrigerator after you opened it?
Yeah. I had, at one point in time, pleaded with Allah to blow this house up. And with all the fear in our country right now, and in the world, about all these different religious ideologies and such not, it becomes our duty as humans to remember the ancient ways and the ancient similarities and things, the reasons that we're here. Okay, we come from the stars, we come from the earth, we come out of spirit into flesh, and we return to spirit into the stars. We're human, and I'm just a human being. I just try to be a reminder to those around me that it's so mysteriously beautiful and simple. Like, I don't want this house necessarily to burn to the ground, but life would go on if it did. And I mean that about anything. Like, we no longer have the luxury to disassociate ourselves. Like, we can't just say that the other life forms around us, like, aren't our problems. And that's why I try to do things, you know, in a sort of alchemical way to balance the living ecosystems and communities that I find myself a member of. So, I thank you for the time taken to listen to this message. And I would like to hear more from you. I had to type in my password so that I could end this video, but I'll take a moment